Durag Diaries, Tottenham 2, Leeds 1, and on a cold, wet, windy, early morning up north, Ellen Road, Spurs got the job done. And that's what it's all about in these games. Just go up there, get the job done. I don't know if people have ever done a long away travel up north. You're sat in the coach, your legs all hurting because you got cramp. You step out on the pitch and your knees, if you feel that pain in your knees from the coldness makes your bones hurt. Like you start to get bone pain. But the team just done the job today. Yes, it was tough. Yes, it was gritty. I said it was going to be easy. And it wasn't. It wasn't easy, but it was expected. And that's the difference here. That's the difference between Leeds and Tottenham, is the expectation to go out there and get the job done. Joe told me unbeaten at Ellen Road in over a year. Who have you faced? 95% championship sides. They said, oh, we beat Newcastle. Sorry, we got a point against Newcastle. They didn't score at our ground. Newcastle with Asula and no Anthony Gordon. Come on, man. Come on, man. What I like to see yesterday, let's start off there with the lineups, was change, rotation. Thomas Frank addressed some of the issues that we've been seeing in our recent games. And Matisse Tell started off up top. As much as many people aren't a massive fan of Tell, I think, especially with him not having the chance in the Champions League, they need to remember a lot of these Premier League games, he's going to be favoured to start over some players because he's going to get the opportunity. And that's what he done. He took his opportunity yesterday. I think he didn't have a 9 out of a 10 amazing performance, but I liked the little bits of things that he was doing. For one key thing we pointed out when we done a Richarlison tactical breakdown was his movement. Tell done very well to drop into that midfield and drag Pascal Strike and Rodon out of position, Strike, however you say their name, consistently, time and time again. He kept pulling forward, bringing the centre-backs out of position to then allow the space for Kudus to run in behind. Odegaard also starting out on the left. I don't necessarily think he had an amazing game again. I think he could have been better. Second half definitely was better than the first half for him. He was showing a bit more ruthlessness. What did we say? He pressed triggered in that second half to try and beat his man quite a few times. More importantly, he was retaining possession a lot of the time outside on that left. So done well for us in that aspect. But also, I think just, again, the change from what we've seen with Xavi Simons on that left is when you have a Dogi at left back, is we now had somebody that was consistently running in those channels and creating an option, because I think this game went exactly how many people would have thought with seeing a man like Xavi in the 10. And I'm so glad Frank done it. So glad I got to see my star signing in the position that he was supposed to be. He was brought in to play, because what we saw yesterday was his full passing display on show. There was a few times I'm seeing him spray it long. I'm seeing him do little 1-2s nice and short. I'm seeing him turn, run, stop on the ball. He's got that pauser when you need it, a player that can speed up and slow down the game. As we said, there was a time when he was on the edge of the box and there was a little dupe run made in behind. I think it might have been by Kudus, may have been by one of the midfielders, but he went and lobbed it over. And I was like, yo, what I've been missing? We haven't had a player make these types of passes since Ericsson. Or maybe this man himself. I haven't seen a guy make these types of passes for a long time. This is what he was brought in to do, and you have to put him in the middle of the pitch to do that. It allowed him to drop deep, pick up the ball from inside our own half, and then turn and pass. And what I liked from Frank yesterday was we shuffled the formation a little bit, because even though Xavi was playing in the 10, when you saw us pressing, or when you saw us in that first half especially, but even in the second half, when we go into our attacking formation, our defensive formation, you will see that the front three consisted of still Kudus, Tell, and Xavi, and Odegaard tucked in as a sort of defensive left winger who was helping with some of that work that I think it's Aronson or Goodmanson, Aronson, one of them, that American player they have that does nothing on the ball, but all his work is off the ball. He's just a dog. He was helping with some of the defensive work and dealing with him. But more than anything, I think one thing that I am going to sit here and say, I told you so, with man like Kudus having a man of match performance, scoring his first goal is exactly what I predicted. I said it would be 2-1. I said Kudus would get his first goal. I said Kudus would be man of the match because I just felt like this would be the game where it would be allowed to explode, especially when you have Xavi in that 10. You're now giving somebody that can play those passing behind. And it gave Kudus some of the freedom as well to tuck in and combine with him because Porro were actually getting down that wing as well. So the overlapping wing backs were doing their job yesterday to allow Kudus and Xavi to really have that freedom to create. But Kudus was just relentless down that right wing. Goodmanson was getting cooked, and the goal he ended up scoring was a great finish and sort of a signature Kudus finish of some sorts, of him cutting in off that right-hand side, doing the fake shot, and then just hitting it across the goal. Goalkeeper couldn't do nothing about it because it, again, across his body, went underneath the defender, took a deflection. And do you know what? I heard the commentators talking about it briefly yesterday, but we might actually have to be own goal FC because as much as we didn't get own goals yesterday, we got deflections. And I love it. I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to love it because they keep telling me my attack's not scoring goals, but Spurs have the second highest goal scoring team in the Premier League. So again, when people sit here and say Spurs are in crisis, Thomas Frank this, Thomas Frank that, the Frank engine is all aboard and we're on a fucking bullet train up north. Oh, chill. You know, one of them ones. We're on a bullet train right now. Nobody can stop us. 7 unbeaten. Yes, the performances haven't been amazing in these games. Showed resilience to come back against Brighton. Then in this next game, we showed resilience to come back against Wolves. And then again against Bodo. And then we showed the resilience to see out the game against Leeds. And we've not conceded no goals in the Premier League between the 75th and 90th minute. One of the biggest periods when we did concede goals last season. So again, that shows me the mentality has shifted. The mentality has changed. We got through this tough game against Leeds in the last 15 minutes when we're defending. They had a few chances. The goal they scored, I think you could say, was poor goalkeeping from Vicario. Probably want him to catch those or parry it at least outside of the area. Try and push it further wide or push it out for a corner ultimately. But they got that goal. Noah Okafor, a little bit lucky. And I forgot to mention, of course, Matisse Tell, big goal for him. Big moment. Yes, again, it was deflection. But for him to get into those positions, again, Kudus with a nice pass down the channel. And for him to just show the striker's instinct to shoot. That's what we need. And that's going to be a huge confidence booster for him going into his next couple of games, knowing that, look, I've got the ability to start. And when I do start, I can score. It's only his 4th goal, I believe, in Spurs colours. So it's been a while since he got his first one. I think it was a penalty, the last one he did. But he's going to take that into the next couple of games, take that confidence and build from it. So, look, overall, it wasn't an amazing performance from us, but it was good, well worked. Again, away from home, tough, gritty. It's sort of what you would expect from these types of games. And Thomas Frank, I think, look, he showed that he can change, showed he could be adaptable. In those last 10 or so minutes, he brought Dan Swan, switched to the free back, and again, looked a little bit more comfortable defending those set pieces. And we've got that option. And I love that we go to that option because you need to be able to see out games. One of the biggest problems we had last year. And now throwing Danso onto the pitch to make ourselves in a much more settled system, then it looked nice. Away from that, Bentancur with another start after us asking for him not to start. I don't necessarily think he was terrible, but he did make a few mistakes, was still a little bit passive in possession. There was times when I did see him, win the ball up high and do some of the good things that he does and lay it off and create an opportunity for us in that sense. But at the back, just a little bit too risky at times. But defensively, him and Paulinho were sweeping up a lot of their balls. So we done the job yesterday, man. That's all I can say is we done our job. 3 points, on to the next game. Now got an international break before we come back against an Aston Villa and Newcastle. 2 tough games. A Carabao Cup 4th round fixture, which I expect us to win. But it is away from home at St. James Park, so that's going to be a tough one. And of course, Aston Villa, a team who's just picking up form themselves. I think they've won 3 of their last 4 games. So they're gonna be one to watch out for as well. But people, make sure you're smashing a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already, because we are on the road to 5K. You know, tell a friend, tell your pet, tell your dog, tell your cat, tell your mum, tell your auntie, tell your cousin, all of them. Subscribe to your boy Durag Diaries. And away from that, if you want to show some extra support, you can scan right here this QR code to buy me a coffee of some sorts, whether it's a latte, macchiato, mocha, choca, all of that stuff. And then follow me on my social platforms right here. But also let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, people. But until next time, it's your boy Durag Diaries, and yeah.